I am Julie Casey. I am with Definiti, and I'm joined this afternoon by Jay Bowen of Nationwide. We're here to talk this afternoon about converting simple plans into 401ks. So let's get right to it. One of the many provisions in Secure 2.0 allows plan sponsors to terminate a simple plan mid-year. This is new for 2024. Previous to this year, if a client had a simple plan, it had to run through 12/31 with a subsequent 401k starting on 1/1. If you missed the window, too bad, you had to wait another year. So we're very happy that this provision has come forth through Secure. Now plan sponsors are allowed to terminate a simple plan mid-year, but it must be replaced by a 401k safe harbor plan. That's the catch. It's got to be safe harbor. So this is a super conversation to be having with your current simple clients or maybe some prospects that you're looking at. Some of these plan sponsors may have heard the rumblings about Secure, may not. When you speak to them, even if they say, maybe not, I'll keep my simple for this year, at least you're showing you're being proactive by getting in front of them and letting them know what their options are. And here at Definiti and with my colleague Jay at Nationwide, we're here to help you. All right, Julie, sounds great. Why should I do this? Well, we all know there are higher limits in a 401k versus the simple. We've got the $23,000 or $30,000 500 deferral limit versus the meager 16,000 or 19,500 inside a simple. It's certainly a more recognizable benefit for employees. In all of my years in the retirement industry, I have never heard a plan sponsor tell me they couldn't hire someone because they didn't have a simple plan. 401ks certainly afford greater flexibility in plan design. That's where we come in to help you get your business owner clients the maximum contribution they can get while giving the minimum necessary to their staff. We certainly couldn't do that in a simple plan. Another great thing about converting mid-year is now a client would be able to offer two plans in 1 year. And what I mean by that is if you have a simple, you can only have that simple for the year. So if you have clients out there that might be interested in making the jump to a cash balance plan, talking to them about converting their existing simple into a 401k, thereby able to add the cash balance, is a perfect opportunity to get in front of these folks and talk. We all know that we can offer loans inside a 401k, not in a simple. That may be of interest to a plan sponsor. And I also tout the existence of putting in a TPA onto the plan. In the past, and I'm sure you can attest, anytime the client has a simple question, they're going to go straight to you. If you throw in us as a TPA, we can take some of that burden off you and answer all of the client's retirement plan related questions. Okay, Julie, sounds great. You've hooked me. How do I make the move? Well, the new safe harbor 401k must begin immediately following the termination of the simple, the very next day. So there are some hoops to jump through, but we can help manage to that. There are participant notice requirements, but thankfully, these notice requirements coincide, and I am here to tell you that that does not happen often when we get new laws handed down from the IRS, so I'm thankful for that. And contributions between the two types of plans will have to be prorated, and that's based on the number of days that the simple was in existence. It's a simple proration calculation. We can help you and the client manage through that. There are a couple other things I'd like to bring to your attention with the passage of this new law. In the past, if a participant had a simple IRA account, that account could not be rolled into a new 401k unless it had been in existence for 2 years. That rule has gone away in 2024. And I'd also like to point out to you that this new replacement 401k that must be safe harbor could be a QACA plan. If you're not familiar with QACAs, please do get in touch with me after today's webinar. We have a couple of short handouts that explain different types of safe harbor 401ks and what may be of interest to your plan sponsor clients is a QUACA safe harbor 401k can allow for a 2-year vesting schedule. So now I'm going to stop and let my friend Jay talk. He and I spoke just briefly this week about success he had with an exact same situation, moving a simple into a 401k where it was a real win for the advisor. So please, Jay, walk us through how that happened.
Absolutely, Julie. Thank you. And thank you to Definiti for having me here today. It's truly a wonderful partnership. But yeah, in collaborating with Julie on this segment, I said, I just have a great real world example. As a sales rep, I was partnering with a junior advisor and helping develop that relationship. And I said, it's one thing to make the decision for all of the reasons that Julie cited to move from a simple to a 401k. But I said to the advisor, Tyler, you really have to think about maximizing that decision. It doesn't start with just the impetus for making that change. Let's maximize it. We actually traveled to the work site to meet with the business owner. And we said, listen, if you're going to make this move, we want to make sure that the plan grows and evolves, and we would like to ask you for access to your employees. And David, the business owner, said, absolutely. If you come back, I will give you full access to the 15 employees. Well, sure enough, we went in, made a compelling case as to why the change and why some of the benefits of consolidating into the newly established startup 401k plan, as it is an individual decision for each simple in order to move those monies. Well, the results were this: 100% of the 15 people enrolled, 100% of those employees designated their beneficiaries. Everyone got logged into the mobile app and desktop applications. Most importantly, we showed up with pre-filled paperwork to enable those that chose to consolidate their assets into the newly established plan. The real result is this: the startup 401k ended up overnight being a $1.6 million plan. Now, when you think about that, you have a startup plan that ends up at a $1.6 million plan because you make a compelling education case to the employee base. That is maximizing the potential of the plan. Additionally, it is good for everybody. It is good for the plan sponsor. It is good for the participants. By the way, they're why I get out of bed every day. Those actions that participants take, that's what I'm all about. Julie knows that. She's heard me talk about it a million times. But it's also good for the advisor and record keeper because now you're generating revenue based upon the growth of that plan. Not least of all, you as the financial advisor look much better to that very important business owner because instead of taking a fully service approach, it was a more consultative approach to impress upon the importance of getting in front of those employees. So my closing point before kicking it back to Julie: do not underestimate the value of your ability to be a consultant here and maximize the benefit of the decision to move from a simple to a full 401k. Julie?
Thank you, Jay. Let's go out and get some of these plans. I'm hungry for them. I'm happy to help all the advisors on this call. Thanks. Back to you, Will.
Jay, Julie, thank you so much. And if you have a couple more moments, we do have time. I actually had a couple questions come through if you had a moment.
Sure.
First one's very easy. It's related to the prorated contribution limit. Is it safe to say, for example, if they were to start up the plan in the middle of the year, the contribution limits would just be cut in half? Or is there more to it than that?
Well, it can be a little complicated. Yes, I would say yes. For purposes of this discussion, cut them in half, but there is a formula that we would use to give the exact amounts, and that would be communicated to the sponsor prior to the 401k starting.
Perfect. And that's something we can certainly help calculate based on the spread.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Another one, I think straightforward. Has the 2-year rollover rule been waived completely altogether at this point?
Only if they're starting a new 401k that's safe harbor.
Okay, perfect. And then lastly, if you convert a simple to a new 401k, does the plan sponsor receive a Secure Act 2.0 startup credit by doing so?
Unfortunately, no. I'm sorry to say, no. It has to be a plan covering employees that were not covered previously.
Yeah, and I would only add to that as you potentially start up plans with sponsors, ask really deeply that question about the pre-existence of a simple, because those new credits are a big deal. We have had scenarios where, oh, all of a sudden there was a simple, and that can get pretty
Right.
technical. So make sure you're asking deeply with ears wide open on that matter.